Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and checking us out this week. So, we just got out of the hack, and it's kind of one of those out of the frying pan into the fire kind of situations, or fryer, depending on if you're someone that likes Long John Silver's or not. Not a sponsor of this show, and probably wouldn't be a sponsor of this show after that last comment. But anyway, so that was what happened last time.
On Critical Hit.
This time on Critical Hit, we are minus a Kevin and minus Sam, both out this week with some illness, but they're going to be fine. Don't worry about that. We'll be back again. So instead of making you guys just have a week of no shows, we thought that we would sit around and just kind of do a general chat.
General chat?
Yeah, the general chat. And the topic that I thought we would talk about is other games we are playing. So, for years now, we've played D&D 4th edition, we've played Fate, we've played Sentinels of the Multiverse, we've played Pathfinder, we're currently playing Starfinder, but outside of Critical Hit, what else are we playing? Some of you listeners, I know, have really exciting campaigns and other projects that you're working on. Certainly, if you are someone who is in the Major Spoilers Discord in our RPG channel, people are talking about all of their campaigns all of the time. So I would really encourage you, dear listener, if you haven't, to sign up into the Major Spoilers Discord server. Totally free, doesn't cost you anything. You get access to the general chat channel, movies, TVs, the RPG channel, the Vidya Games channel. There's a sports channel if you're into that. And then we have some general chat for, Critical Hit and all of the other podcasts that we do. The one thing that if you do want to get access to some bonus content and listen to some shows live, including the GM Roundtable that some of you were able to listen to as a kind of a bonus addition to one of the episodes several weeks ago, you can listen to that show live and ask your questions live when you connect your Patreon account to our Discord server at the silver level and higher. And so you get access to that live recording, and you get access to, I think at this point, we've got like 15 other shows, other episodes of the GM Roundtable, plus a not Sentinels of the Multiverse. What was that other one that we did? Shadow of the Demon Lord that we played.
Sign of the Gypsy Queen.
And then the other one that we did was a little 6-issue mini series of going back to Modern City. So if some of you were fans of that, you can get a little 6-issue miniseries over there at patreon.com/major spoilers, and then connect your Discord account and then come and chat with all of the rest of the cool kids that are out there in the world, including, I was going through the other day. I was going through our stats. We have listeners in India. Hello, India. We have listeners in Australia and New Zealand.
Bonjour, Australia.
We actually have listeners in Nepal, which I thought was super fascinating. We have, I think, one listener in the Sudan, or maybe it's 3. I'd have to go back and look. But I know that there was between 1 and 3 in the Sudan. Ethiopia, I think, had 1. So hello, Ethiopian listeners. But we have listeners all over the world. I have yet to see any reports from Antarctica, but maybe that will be coming in soon. But if you are down at the bottom of the world...
There's only like 9 people in Antarctica.
No, there's a lot more than that. But if you're down at the bottom of the world, please let us know. So anyway, this week... I thought we would talk about the other games that we are playing. And for a while now, Rodrigo, you have been teasing us all about your Lancers RPG, your big mech RPG campaign. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you're doing with that and how it's going and all those kinds of things?
Sure. I'm running a short campaign of Lancer, mostly because it's hard to schedule everybody. And it kind of manifested because another game that I was running ran into some kind of frequent scheduling issues. So I took a couple of people from my Exalted game, added a few other ones, and I started running a Lancer campaign. This is going to be the 3rd game, and probably the last one. So let's see what to say about it. Lancer is a game about piloting giant robots, and mostly fighting other giant robots. A lot of people, I think, come in like really expecting a Pacific Rim like kaiju situation. There are rules for kaiju, but the main action of the game tends to be more Gundam than Godzilla, right? More. It's a soft sci-fi game dressed up really well like a hard sci-fi game. Their technobabble is really on point. But mechs. There's mech that can teleport. There's mechs that can turn invisible. There's mechs that can like alter probability. All kinds of stuff. So
the mechs are mutants.
Yeah, sufficiently advanced technology in a post-scarcity world.
Yeah.
Or at least for the solar system. The rest of the galaxy seems to be not so post-scarcity.
Right. A big aspect of Lancer is that we did it. We created a post-scarcity, like, peaceful society, but pretty much only, like Brian said, in the solar system, humans have expanded to lots of places in the galaxy, and they haven't gotten the memo. So a lot of games of Lancer involve Union, which is the sort of collective human post-scarcity, like hyper, like communist dream world, to go out there and negotiate with people and being like, hey, you should join us and we'll just give you stuff, right? Like you can also live the post-scarcity dream, but a lot of systems are ruled by despots or giant companies, like what are called corporate states in the game. So they're like, no, we're doing fine oppressing our populace, and we're rich, so we don't care. So when diplomacy breaks down, they send in the troops, and you, as a PC, play a Lancer, which is an elite mechanized cavalry unit, because that's you have infantry, and then you have basically what you send in to break lines and actually like push forward, and that's what the PCs play, right? Mechs are, you don't have a mech that you own necessarily. Printing technology is like super duper great. So basically you print a mech.
Nice.
And ride that around for a while, and then later on you get the license for a different mech, and you can basically crush your old mech into
Residuum.
raw material and into residuum and print a new mech. And you can reprint that mech as many times as you want, but you're only allowed to be driving one mech at a time.
So this is like a Gundam where you're driving the mech and not like a super robot that has its own identity.
Right.
Yeah.
Not quite. Robots that have their own identity do exist in the setting, in the sense that a lot of the wacky sci-fi stuff is facilitated by the creation of these things called NHPs, which stands for non-human person, which are computer intelligences that are so advanced that they're essentially capable of computational feats that, for all intents and purposes, can create like magical effects. You can get your own NHP that lives in your mech. And if you crush your mech and make a new one, you can take it out. You don't have to crush the NHP too.
You don't have to kill it.
They're essentially NPCs, but also they tend to have some very powerful effects. Usually, you don't get an NHP until you get to like the third license level of a mech, and that's when you're kind of able to use them a little bit more. Also, you can just give them control of your mech if you need to like jump out for whatever reason. There's a talent introduced in one of the supplements where you can essentially be like, "Hey, space monster, take control," and your NHP takes control of your mech. You jump out of your mech and you like put out fires, or like run over to other people's mechs and put out their fires, or like are able to like repair stuff while like hanging out of your mech while your NHP fights with your mech. It gets pretty wacky.
Very cool. So, but you're having fun with that? Are there things in the system that you found that you like or don't like, or are you ready to do another campaign after this one wraps up?
Yeah, I would like to do something else after this wraps up. If for no other reason that I want to get more familiar with the system. It's it's a tactical game. It's actually very influenced by fourth edition. So there's a lot there that I like. But for example, like encounter balance is kind of is clearly an art, right? This is a game where, like, unlike say a D&D game, it's very possible that the entire party has significant ranged options, right? Can basically fight at range with machine guns and cannons and rocket launchers and lasers and stuff like that. So cover is very important. So how much cover you provide and whether the enemies care about cover or not can really change things. One of the things that I played, I put a lot of cover down, and then I fielded these enemies that have these like arcing projectiles that can blend behind the cover and hit the PCs anyway. So it was like, well, what was the point of all this cover, right? But also the players figured that out on the fly and were like, well, instead of like wasting our movement by running and trying to find cover, let's just like charge at these guys. And they did that, and it turned out mostly pretty well after they took some damage.
Cool. What are there's any other games that you're playing? Is there another RPG game that you're playing too, or is Lancers your only side thing?
No, I'm running an Exalted game that I've been running for a long time, and again, it's kind of we're only playing about once a month nowadays because of scheduling. So that's kind of why I jumped into. I was like, well, let's run a Lancer game because this is a long running game. I don't expect that we're going to stop anytime soon. I'm guessing eventually schedules are going to free up and we'll be able to do it more frequently again. But yeah, that game takes place in the northern area of Exalted's world creation, and the players now have a like small city that they're in charge of and have sort of either pissed off or formed some kind of alliance with most of like the major supernatural powers of the area. So they're pretty well settled into what they want to do. It's it's good times.
Yeah.
Whoa. So you've been talking about your Exalted game for like as long as I've known you. And I literally realized at this moment that I was thinking of Aberrant rather than Exalted.
Right. So
and I'm like,
did you pick up the new Aberrant?
I haven't been running this Exalted game since you've known me. This is a different one.
Okay.
But
you've been talking about Exalted.
I have been talking about Exalted. I have in fact both played and ran Aberrant. I don't know, is there a D20 version out now?
I mean, there was a D20 version out. Now, they recently came out, or at least to backers, with the new, I forget what they're calling the Trinity system now, but
right, because now it's its own system. But yeah, I've played Aberrant. Aberrant is a White Wolf superhero game.
White Wolf
are the guys
X-Men,
that
basically.
Yeah, White Wolf are the guys that did Vampire the Masquerade. So definitely a lot of the things that were like angsty and edgy in the 90s are present in Aberrant. And if you look at the whole Trinity continuum, Aberrant is like particularly edgy because of what ends up happening to the Aberrants in the Eon part of it, right? Because the Trinity continuum is split into 3 games. Adventure, which is a pulp, like 1920s adventure game, obviously. Aberrant, which is a superhero game, and then the space opera game Eon. I think it's pronounced Eon, maybe Aeon, I don't know. And
the AE Thorn thing.
Yeah, it's cool because there's 3 types of critters in Adventure. There's mesmers, or mesmerists, daredevils, and I forget what the
Stalwarts?
strongmen are called. Stalwarts, yeah. So there's like physical ones, luck ones, and mental ones. So you can say Adventure is the game in which the daredevils show up or show off. Aberrant is the one where the stalwarts show off because the majority of aberrants have like these super incredible physical powers. And then the mesmerists come into their own at the end of the continuum.
What you said there was a pulp game you were playing too, Rodrigo?
I'm not playing it now, but yeah, Adventure.
Oh, Adventure. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
And they actually just recently finished a Kickstarter for the new edition of that, which I did back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or the new edition of Adventure, or
Of Adventure, and I'm probably going to pick up a copy of Aberrant through that too, since that hasn't been released publicly.
You guys always pronounce words differently than me, and it makes me feel bad. But
Well, sometimes, Matthew, when it comes to words, a lot of times we don't hear some of these words. This is one of the things that happens quite a bit. But we read it, and in our mind, we're like, oh, that's got to obviously be how one would say it or pronounce it. And then when you go out and other people are like, no, it's pronounced aluminium, then you really figure out the correct way.
you realize you're in New Zealand. Yeah.
Sorry.
What about you, Rob? What games are you playing outside of our Starfinder adventure?
For the last month or so, I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter Rise. But as far as RPGs go, we played Arplane. It may be over. Neon City Overdrive on Brian's recommendation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. So we were looking for kind of a cyberpunkish feeling for a game.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I turned to my best resource on, I need a game for such and such. Brian.
I mean, that's who I turn to.
Right?
That's why we keep him around.
I don't know any better resource for this. But he recommended Neon City Overdrive was one of the ones that was reasonably inexpensive and the style of game that the guy who wanted to run it would like to do. So there's the DM never rolls any dice. It's all about the players figuring out what abilities they have and equipment they have that can be used in this situation to either, in combat it'd be to either attack or defend against the guy. And you figure out what all you have. You get a bunch of one color of D6, and then the DM is throwing in things that are causing problems for it. Like whatever equipment the bad guy has, the fact that he's a big, strong guy, any disadvantages you have. And those are another set of D6. You roll all of them and kind of compare where everything's going. But the big thing with it is the DM doesn't have to do anywhere near as much in the way of preparation.
Oh, really?
For the game, like you need to prepare what kind of story and where things can go. But bad guys, like the book has some has some like little blocks for what some generic bad guys are that can be reskinned and adjusted accordingly. But it's got like 12 different bad guys for various things, and everything else is just kind of modify on the fly for what the situation is.
Cool. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, that does sound like fun. Brian, what about you? What have you been playing? I know there was one that you tweeted out the other day, Panic at the Dojo. And I went over to their Kickstarter page and downloaded the Karate Hot Foot.
The quick Kickstart?
The Kickstart quick start thing. So I've been kind of flipping through that. But what's that all about?
Yeah, I can't say I've really been playing much. What with the pandemic and me getting a new job that has me work 6 to 3 and every other weekend. So gaming's not been much of a thing this last year and a half or so. I have been reading a lot of stuff. One of those is Panic at the Dojo. It's something of an interesting thing. It's a tactical game, very much like themed off of like fighting games and anime shows. So you move around on a grid and have different abilities and moves. The main thing that you use to define your characters are 3 different stances that you can switch between from round to round, which are each made up of a form and a style. The form gives you like what dice you roll and some abilities, and your style adds flavor to that.
So like form of an eagle, shape of a
so like one of them they have here, I've got it open here. It's a Forbidden Dragon Storm stance, a range of 1 to 3, and the dice that you roll for this is a 1d10, 2d8s, 2d6s, and a d4. And so you have Hollow Queen's, so this is specific for this one character. Hollow Queen's actions may apply to 1 extra target within range. Whenever HQ takes damage, Hollow Queen takes damage from an enemy's action, increase that damage by 1. And then you have 3 things. You got a 3+ amplify. HQ's next action this turn has its range increased by 2 and may apply it up to 3 extra targets. Then you've got a 4+ for aftershock, and then some other things that go in there. But it's fairly straightforward, although it does look like you need a lot of dice to chuck around in this game.
Yeah, up to 6 or 7. Some builds can actually squeeze out 7. Basically it's D4s to, I don't think I've seen anything higher than a D10. And you roll those, and depending on the number, you can spend them to do different actions. So each die is basically a separate action that you can do. So it's interesting. I kind of really want to give it a try. It is a little bit weird, like there is no character advancement or anything, so basically the characters that you make out of the gate is what you get. All the dice play is entirely in combat. Skills are just handled narratively. If you have one of your 4 skills matches a situation, you can just say you do the thing, and you do the thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It looks pretty interesting. Anything else that you're reading that has caught your eye?
I would say the main thing I've been reading over the past year is a line of games called Soulbound, which is the Warhammer Age of Sigmar RPG.
Oh,
so
like the fantasy version.
Yes, the fantasy. So basically, what they some time ago they blew up the old Warhammer Fantasy world, and since then
you blew it up. Damn you!
The old big apocalypse happened, and since then, like the worlds have recoalesced into like these 8 different realms.
A planet where Skaven evolved from men? It's madness.
Something like that. Skaven are definitely around. They apparently tunneled from the old world to the new one, as did dwarves. Don't ask how that works. Apparently, lizard men went to space.
Quantum tunneling.
Yeah. And so basically, there's these 8 different realms. So it's kind of like weirdly like Planescape meets Exalted, because the central premise of Soulbound is that your hero's chosen by some god who's had their souls all basically tied together to give them even more power, and sent out on quests. So you got your typical Warhammer trappings, although one thing they've done with Age of Sigmar is like give everything a slightly different name so that they can be more trademarked. So you got the Dwarden instead of the dwarves, and the elves instead of the elves, and stuff like that.
That was the actual impetus for the destruction of the world.
They're from Georgia.
Stronger copyrights.
Like you got them Dwarden and then elves.
But there's like some weird character options. You got basically your tree folk too as one, and more or less Deva, like chosen of Sigmar, who some call Sigmarines because they look a lot like the Space Marines, but in the fantasy setting. Because they are chosen by the god Sigmar and reforged as such. And so, you can play those things, and there's some neat classes, more or less. I mean, it's not actually a class system. Everything's like a selection of feats, more or less.
Right.
But Yeah, you can be like the steampunk dwarves or the undersea Cthulhu-esque elves who steal souls because they got some weird soul curse and it's the only way they can reproduce.
Like you do.
Or the or the murder bloodletting elves.
Elves
who are on the good guy's side.
I want to play like the shoemaking elves who hide out in the cabinets during the day.
Yeah, but you don't want to. You don't want them in your house because number one, it's an infestation, and number two, if you're not careful, they'll bite your fingers off. What are you playing, Matthew? Are you doing any RPG? I know at one point you said you were doing some RPG stuff with your family.
Yes, well, it's not just with my family, which is why it's been on hold for about the last either 13 months or 17,000 years, however you count the time from the spring of 2020 till now. We had been playing a Fate Accelerated game.
Which one?
Fate Accelerated.
Oh, just Fate Accelerated. You weren't like doing Dresden Files or
in Fate Accelerated. Okay. Well, no, because here's the thing. You remember Tom?
Yeah.
Tom has basically in his brain, he has a setting that he plays with. It's essentially kind of an X-Files-y setting where it's the real world, essentially, but there are supernatural elements that pop up, and occasionally these supernatural elements will pop up and bad things happen to people.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he and his wife and varying, companies of people have been playing in this world for like 30 years. And he just sort of applies it to different systems as they go. It initially came out of a book called, oh crap, now I can't remember the name of it, but it was back
Unknown
in like
Army.
1988. No, it was a horror game. It was specifically an RPG. Okay, Brian, here's your thing. Specifically an RPG horror game from the mid-'80s.
Was it Call of Cthulhu?
No, it was not Call of Cthulhu. I would remember that. I think it had a one-word title.
Was it Chill?
It was Chill. Holy moly. Well played, sir.
I got those, the original books. There's a new edition of that too, but I found a whole bunch of the old books in Booksaholic in Wichita and bought them.
Yeah. We actually we made a game. So the players were me and my family, and then Tom's wife and son, who just turned 30, and oh my God, I'm old. And we were basically people who were distantly related. And occasionally the family matriarch would call upon different members of the family and say, look, you have to come right now. It's a family obligation, and everybody's down with this. But we were playing some really cool kind of characters, and mine was perhaps my favorite modern character in a while. I was playing a character. I want you to imagine a YouTube TikTok-y star, right? Who's not quite Bill Nye, but not quite Professor Hinckley from Gilligan's Island, but bits of both, who would do little videos for people called Science is Lit, who, just happened to be dragged into this. So yeah, it was really fun. And of course, it's the first time my daughter and I have ever played RPG games together.
Mm.
They've actually gone out and played with their friends, and I've, played games that they were aware of. But sitting down with my daughter and playing this game was so weird, because seeing her in the RPG setting and remembering being 17 and playing games and being that kid at that time 30 years earlier, I could not imagine my mom or any of her many husbands sitting down to play games with us. And it was just so weird that I'm like, this small person here now is enjoying games. But there's another game that I've been wanting, and I need Brian's help on this.
Mm-hmm.
We need to pick your brain. I need a system that I can access easily.
Fate Accelerated.
Now, that has specific rules for superhuman powers, but not in an aberrant way, in sort of the best way I can describe it is the Silver Age Sentinels kind of way.
Sentinels of the Multiverse.
So there's Silver Age Sentinels.
Is it still around? I haven't heard that thing.
I mean, you can go on DriveThru RPG and get the old books, but there's talk of them doing a new edition because that publisher's back, more or less.
Are they?
The old.
I would really like something with that kind of vibe where I can tell. I would like to be able to tell a story that would basically give you the ability to range from about 1958 Legion of Superheroes to right about the dawn of the horrible 90s. So I could do that whole Silver and Bronze Age stuff. And then I want to just put my whole family in and sit them down and say, now you're a superhero. You're on my turf. What do y'all think?
I mean, there is, I say Fate. Venture City is that campaign setting for the superheroes.
Yeah,
they do have that. I mean, honestly, I think my kind of go-to for superhero games right now is the Sentinel Comics RPG.
Yeah. How is the character creation in that? Have you finally had a chance to do some character creation in that?
A little bit. I kind of ran my wife through a bit of it just out of curiosity. She ended up making like an ex-con roller swan.
Nice.
Because there is like a random option, or you can just choose from the list what you want your character to be. And I mean, also you can go online and find the old Marvel superhero RPG too, if that's the thing you want. If you want to roll on that,
I keep telling
weird
Matthew,
old color-coded chart.
I keep telling Matthew he needs to run that '80s Legion of Superheroes game.
Yeah, that's from the DC RPG, which I actually know a little better than the Marvel RPG.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with old RPG systems.
The only problem with it, though, is that there's no continuing development.
Well,
which is
that
a good thing and a bad
fine,
thing.
right? Because then you don't have to learn
the Sentinel comics. Yeah, basically, again, and you pretty much when you create your character, that's what you get. I mean, you can always, go back and shift things around to represent, character development. So yeah. If you want something that's like kind of tied to like old basic Dungeons and Dragons, there's an interesting game, and again, it kind of has random character creation. It has Sentinels in the name. It was like Sentinels of Echo City, I think. Let me see if that was it.
Making stuff up now.
Yeah. But it's basically kind of like if they made the Marvel superhero RPG, but using the Dungeons and Dragons rules instead of face rip.
And
that might be good.
That's on DriveThru RPG for like $7 in a PDF form.
Yeah, and it's a fairly comprehensive system. I've definitely looked at it, and so if you're into the older style D&D systems, I would really suggest checking it out. Oh, it's actually on sale right now for $6.67. Yeah.
Oh, I am old school. I mean,
do they have that? Do they have that DC game, DC RPG over at DriveThru RPG? I wonder.
I have that.
Villains and Vigilantes came out with a new edition.
What? B&V is back?
Yeah.
Oops, sign me up.
There's also Icons, which is like it's kind of a Fate derivative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I love
it's
Villains and Vigilantes simply because every once in a while I will like throw a Villains and Vigilantes out in a Twitter 10 things, and the same four guys will be like, I thought I was the only one, and they never meet each other. And I always feel bad. And then, of course, anytime anybody has a question about Sentinel comics, I'm just like, Brian?
Yeah.
Tell them what to do.
Yeah, I'm not doing a lot of RPG stuff right now because we do have one person in the house who wanted to get into it, and then one of his friends was like, no, that's all demon Satan worship stuff.
All nerd stuff.
No, demon. He was totally into the demon Satan stuff. So it's like, I'm trying to explain to him, it's not. But
now let's play Shadow of the Demon Lord.
Yes. But my youngest, who just turned 10, I was like, you know what? We should play Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, which is kind of the tutorial version of the Gloomhaven game. And so it just walks you through how to play everything in a very step-by-step manner. And we played like the first two, and we were having a great time. And he was like, oh, this is the greatest game in the world. And then we got to, I think it's Adventure 4, and it just beat down on us hard twice. Oh. And he is not one that likes to lose. And he had a little bit of an issue. And so I was like, well, we're going to have to put that game away for a while until you figure out that it's okay to lose sometimes. And then I was like, hey, look what came in the mail, almost literally on the same day. that we were like, let's put Jaws of the Lion aside. It was the Marvel United game from Come On, or Cool Mini or Not, or whatever that they're calling themselves today. I think it's just Come On. But this is an interesting game where you're running around the board, and you're running from different locations that are randomly chosen, and you're trying to defeat the villain. That's, you can pick whatever villain that you want to do, and you're trying to defeat and save citizens and beat up thugs. And the way that it's played is that you go around the table, and each person has a deck of 30 cards. I think it's 30 cards. No, it's 15 cards that you can play out for an action that your character does. And then the person that goes after you, they get to use their card plus the card before. So there's some team up work that goes on. And so one of the keys to winning the game is to have a little bit of open communication. So you might say, well, I'm thinking of doing, a punch or a move. Can you use that to your advantage in your next play? And then of course the villain gets a chance to play, and then things can get out of hand very, very quickly. It is a fairly easy game to play, especially with just the base the base challenges, just the default villain schemes and everything. It can get out of hand though. We did do an Ultron one the first time we tried to play Ultron. His bots swarmed the table like within 3 rounds, or with 3 turns, I'm sorry. And we were done. And so that was not fun. But we ended up beating him, and we've beat all the villains in the main box. But I went ahead on the Kickstarter campaign and did the all-in thing. So we've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We've got like tons of just random Marvel characters like Doctor Strange and Daredevil and Shang-Chi and all of those. What else do we have? We've got there's a Guardians of the Galaxy one. There is a Thanos Infinity Gauntlet edition. There's the Power of Wakanda, Tales of Asgard, and then there is the Return of the Sinister Six, which is where you're taking on all 6 of Spider-Man's main villains at once. And it's pretty fun. And then, of course, if you want more of a challenge, you have these challenge cards that basically take you from beginner to advanced to expert kind of level, where you're discarding some of your cards and you don't have those cards in your deck. And if you run out of cards in your deck, everybody loses. So that makes it a little bit more challenging. But it is super fun. The youngest, the sidekick, and I played it, and he was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And then he was talking about it at dinner, and he was like, can we go play again? I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, hey, the wife, do you want to come down and play? And she's like, I guess. And it's so easy to explain how to play this game. You can learn it in 5 minutes or less. And then we had such a good time that the oldest, the boy, finally has come in and sat down, and he was going through all the characters. And I know Matthew will appreciate this, because he was like, oh, Howard the Duck. I want to play Howard the Duck. And I was like, first of all, I didn't even know you knew who Howard the Duck was. And he's like, oh yeah, this is going to be one of the best characters in the whole box. And it does turn out that Howard has a card that kind of makes him a little bit, in my opinion, OP, because as soon as you are able to start beating on the villain, because you have to complete several challenges before you can start hitting on the villain. But Howard has this card where you hit the villain for all but one of his hit points. So we were going up against Kingpin, and Kingpin had like 11 hit points, and he just plays this card and knocks Kingpin down to one remaining hit point, and then my wife went next and wiped him out. So it was
the power of Quack Fu, man.
I guess it is. I don't remember if that was the name of the card or not. But he was complaining. He was like, man, there's no Deadpool in this. He would be the craziest, most fun character to play. And then, of course, the very next day, Cool Mini or Not, or Come On, announced the X-Men United, which is all of the X-Men, pretty much all the X-Men characters. And it is a huge collection, just like the Marvel United one is. And they do have a Deadpool expansion, so he is super excited about that. They released a Fantastic Four expansion as part of this as well, and then there's a Days of Future Past where you've got these giant Sentinels that are like 3 times the size of the regular chibi style figures that come with this. So much so that there's one of the figures, I think it's the Sentinel 2 figure, can actually hold a regular figure in its hand, is how big it is, like clutching it. And so the only good character in there is Wolverine in that expansion. So I don't know if it's supposed to be the Sentinels are going against Wolverine or how that expansion works, but I'm looking forward to that. And you'll be happy to know, Rodrigo, that one of the very last mutants that they unlocked before the campaign closed today, just about an hour ago, was was Morrow. Isn't that one of your favorite X-Men characters? So
is it ugly Marrow or pretty Marrow?
It depends on how you feel about the Kamon's chibi style characters, because sometimes they can look really, really cool, but sometimes they look kind of ugly. So I would say it's kind of in between.
Sure.
Yeah. So some of the the big head, small eyes kind of thing that they have going on, it kind of looks a little weird sometimes, but it looks cool. I'm never going to paint these because I don't know how to paint minis. But
you got a brush, right?
Nah, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm gonna get Brad to do it at some point. Just pay him to do all of my miniatures. But this is a really fun game. If you haven't checked it out, the base game can be bought at like Target, and
they had it at our Walmart.
Oh, did they? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I did see it at Walmart as well. All the expansions, I don't know how you get the expansions, because I don't know if they've announced anything through your friendly local gaming store, if those expansions are available now, or if you're just SOL, because I know that the bonus Kickstarter figures, and there's like 40 of them, were kind of exclusive to Kickstarter. So yeah, you may be able to get the Guardians of the Galaxy Remix expansion, but you may not be able to get the Gamora exclusive figure that came with one of the Kickstarter reward system, the tiers that they were unlocking. So I don't know. It's a fun game. I think that this game will have infinite resellability. The downside is I got no place to store this stuff. You guys have seen my house and my big old Calyx. So what are they? The 5x5 Calyx systems. They're completely full with stuff. And with Marvel United, and then next year when X-Men United arrives, I got no space for these. So I actually started clearing out a bunch of games that I either never played or have zero interest in playing, or played and just really hated. So Brian, at some point, you're going to have to come over and pick up boxes upon boxes of games to figure out what you want to do with them.
I'm sure my wife will love that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure she will. Then, as far as the dungeons,
and duct tape them together, you can use them as a bed.
There's enough of them here. You could build a partition between your half of the house and her half of the house when you bring home all these games that she doesn't want in the house.
I thought you just paint a white line down the middle of the living room. Is how that goes.
As far as Dungeons and Dragons go, the oldest is about to enter high school. So for those of you that have been listening to Critical Hit since the beginning, you know that he's been a very young child, but he's a freshman next year, and so the parents had to go and do a tour of the high school, which I was like, I hate these boring ass things. But one of the things that I walked past a sign, because they actually at the high school have a D&D club. And I was like, oh, cool. And I mentioned it to the boys, like, so are you going to join the D&D club? He's like, no. He's like, I went up to their table, though, and they pulled out a D20 and rolled it and asked us if we knew what it was. And I said, did you tell him? Did you tell him? And he's like, no. He goes, they asked me if I knew what happens when you roll a D20. And I said, you didn't say a critical hit? The name of the show that your dad podcasts on? He's like, no. But so one of the interesting things about Critical Hit that has happened over the years was that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro send us copies of all of their new books and things that they have coming out. So I've talked about a lot of them on Finally Friday, or if you follow on Instagram, you'll see pictures of these. And I greatly appreciate these, and I think that it's really kind of cool, because like Brian will come in and go, oh, can I borrow this book, or can I do these things? But one of the things that they do is they send, for a lot of their most recent books, the 5th edition books, they send 2 copies. One is the normie version, and one is the variant cover, the really super nice variant cover version. Yeah, the deluxe versions that they have same content on the inside. The only difference is the covers. And so I've got like basically everything 5th edition in duplicate form, and knowing that kids probably don't have a lot of money to buy all these modules, I just contacted their supervisor or their advisor at the school, and I said, hey, I've got all of these books. Do you guys want them? So I'm just donating. Not it's all the duplicates. I mean, I still have a copy of everything myself, but I'm just going to donate those to the high school so that their D&D club can play a lot of adventures and a lot of different modules.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Make sure that you go and buy the Tomb of the Unknown Death. Stick it in there.
They probably have that. They probably play that or whatever. But
Tales from the Yawning Portal did have the Tomb of Annihilation.
I think that they did have Tomb of Annihilation in there. Yeah. The only other game that I've kind of played just by myself. Well, there's a lot of virtual games. Because the other thing that my wife said, because I kind of knew when we were playing Marvel United, she was like, is there an electronic version of this game? Because there's a lot of little parts and pieces that go with the board game, but I know that she was like, I want to play this game some more, but I want to play it on my iPad. So I'm hoping that Cool Mini or Not will do that in the future. But I've been playing a lot of those games. Magic the Gathering I've kind of gotten into, even though I was like, no, I want to stay away from it because of Magic Arena. But the only other board game that I've been playing is Cthulhu Death May Die, also from, I believe, Cool Mini or Not. This one is really cool because you play sometimes historical figures, sometimes fictional characters, and you are running through these locations trying to defeat a lot of the elder gods that are trying to come into the world. And there's cultists that you have to deal with. You have to break up. Sometimes you have to break up these spells, or sometimes places are on fire that you can't enter. And it's rather interesting because as you start to lose sanity, you also gain power. And one of the characters I really enjoy playing is Rasputin, because he gets to die once and come back for free and doesn't end the game. And so Rasputin, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to have him run through the entire place, because if you enter a room and then leave a room, if there's a villain or a monster in there, they follow you into the next room. So Rasputin will have like 10 cultists around him, and then I'll just unleash one of Rasputin's powers and knock them all out within a round or two, and he's taking no damage or sanity hits on it. It's a fun game. It also has a lot of miniatures and other things with it, but I really enjoy that one. One of these days I will have to do a live stream of just that game, because you can play it solo, you can play it with up to 5 people, I think. But that one is really fun. The one I am very interested in, and I don't know if any of you guys have had a chance to play it. I know Rodrigo was following it for a long time, was iHunt, the killing monsters in a gig economy. Have you played anything with that yet? No,
I haven't gotten a chance to play it or run it. It's based on Fate, so
okay.
If we ever decide to do that, it won't be too big of a transition, right? But yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a good way to sort of like get out our kicks at the system.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I haven't had a chance to sit anyone down and force them to play, which is how games get played, as far as I know. I'm just like, call up a bunch of people and I'm like, hey, I'm running a game on Sunday. Do you want to play? They're like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, all right, well, you better be there. I'm going to send you a massive packet, and you have to read the whole thing by then.
Yeah. Unfortunately, COVID has kind of taken a shot at that, but there's all sorts of things like Roll20 and the digital game board or whatever it is that people tabletop. What is it? Digital tabletop, Brian? Is that what it is? Virtual tabletop.
I think both are used.
Yeah, the
virtual tabletop I think is the most common.
Foundry too. Is that a thing?
Maybe
Foundry. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Rob, since we've been in COVID, what's been going on with your Magic the Gathering obsession?
It's been difficult. There's still some live play, but WotC has shut down all sanctioned events in North America until further notice, basically. Like, I think it's once every 3 months they're doing a reevaluation of, can we open in 6 months?
Yeah.
And so far it's been no. However, I have been doing I've been doing more on Arena than I had in the past. I know this weekend is an Arena Open for Strixhaven, Strixhaven Sealed.
Yeah.
That I and one of my friends will be doing. At least one of my friends will be doing most of the day. Well, hopefully not most of the day, because if we get in the first time, then we don't have to play the rest of the day, and we'll be playing most of the day on Sunday. But last time,
Critical Hit.
On Critical Hit,
we started around 11 a.m. and I qualified around 3 a.m. about 3:40 a.m. about 20 minutes before the qualifiers closed.
Wow.
Yeah,
and that's the virtual, right? That's the arena. Yeah. Wow. What about you, Rodrigo? Have you been getting back into Arena since it's all virtual and you don't have to worry about stacks of cards to sort through?
Yeah, I've I think I told this story in the Major Spoilers podcast, but some friends wanted to play, and we had to do it remotely. And our only real lingua franca was Magic, so I got back into it. And basically now I play about 10,000 times more than anybody else in that group. I was like, yeah, we'll get back into Arena and we can all play together or whatever. And then, it's like 10 days later, I'm like, click, 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 oh, Kaldheim's out, click, 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 click. So, yeah, I've been playing a lot, which mostly means brewing a lot of weird decks in Historic, and then winning with those decks about 20% of the time, which feels great.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So your standard Magic experience there.
Pretty much. It's nice because it's a more limited card pool, and any cards that you want, you can easily get. So that's nice. We had also recently on the pre-show, we had a conversation about WotC's relationship with the secondary market, but in Arena, there is no secondary market, right? You just basically spend these tokens to get cards.
Yep. Now I got in on the back end of probably the last month of what was before the Viking one, whatever set that was.
Kaldheim.
And what's the new one? That's the Harry Potter one.
Strixhaven.
I bought the base set, basically, like if you bought a brick of those, but I haven't played that one yet. I got really busy as soon as April hit, as soon as that set came out, and I haven't had a chance to go in and do any of the daily. I was all through March, I was going through and doing all of the daily challenges, because one of the things that is nice about Arena is when you do those challenges, you get free packs, which means you don't have to spend money to build your decks. And so that's what I was doing. I was grinding through that and built my own couple of decks that I thought were pretty good. Yeah. But I need to work a little bit more on that, I think.
And that's what I do. I'm probably the exact opposite of what WotC wants. I play a lot and gain a lot of coins, which is the non-money based in-game currency. And then I will play and I will buy one pack, please.
Yeah. Well, and about those daily challenges.
Well, I sure feel fulfilled that I got one pack out of all this playing.
And then there's Rob, who's just like, yeah, sure, here's my paycheck.
It wouldn't be the first time.
I mean, we've all been there.
Oh no, yes, we've all been there. That's the reason why I had to get out of Magic the last time, because it was just like, I'll go to the store and just buy 20 packs and just open them up and not know what to do with them, and then finally give them 3 notebooks full to Rodrigo of stuff. So
there's a reason why I had to work at the comic store and get 40% off of the books. I mean, otherwise I would be broke.
Yeah.
That's just the rule.
So there's an interesting thing that I don't know if you guys have been following this. This is more on the Pokemon side, but I think it also is going to affect Magic as well. There's been this huge rush since pandemic of Pokemon cards, so much so that it is super hard to find them. Again, we were talking a little bit about this on the Major Spoilers podcast pre-show. You can go find more information about that over at our Patreon page. But Target is basically out of them. Walmart is completely out of them, because as soon as you go in to buy the Pokemon or any of those, at our Walmart, the shelves are bare. People are there Fridays just scooping up everything. But apparently, and I want to get everybody's feedback on this, apparently Walmart, this is something that just started circulating today, apparently Walmart has told their stores to no longer stock any trading card games because of bad behavior by customers around those cards.
Yeah,
and I think it has to do with some bad, somebody who comes in and just buys the whole stack, and so my 10-year-old who loves the Pokemon game can't get any Pokemon cards, and so I wonder if it's part of that or if there's something else going on. Do you know, Rob, since you're way into that?
There are a lot of printing shortages right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's affecting basically every little TCG. Terribly. The Digimon TCG, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way. came out at the beginning of this year and has such a shortage on it that booster boxes, which cost a little under 100 retail, are being sold at over 250 from gaming stores.
Yeah. Oh no.
And that's before the scalpers get them to charge even more online.
Yeah. No, we had to go through that. We had to go through that at Christmas. I think it was Christmas. When we were buying the last Pokemon stuff, because it was like, well, we're kind of desperate, and that's what he wanted for Christmas, and I probably spent about $250 for the main box of cards that should have not probably cost that much, and it was probably even more than that. But yeah, I was just amazed at how high that's going. But what do you think is going to happen now if Walmart and Target are both like, yeah, we're not going to have these for a while. We don't want these on our shows for a while.
Target's actually already made their concessions. Basically, they announced when the cards come out, and there is a maximum of 3 packs per person or 3 product per person. I don't know exactly how it works. And either this week or last week, they started announcing that anybody in line before whatever time Target opens, I probably like some extended period before that, will be called for trespassing.
Oh, interesting.
Like Target corporate told the stores, no, anybody that's in the parking lot that's not supposed to be there, call the cops.
Yeah. I know that Widget was looking for, it wasn't actually a trading card game, but they were looking for something for the island thing with the animals.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, apparently there was a Hello Kitty pack of 6 Hello Kitty cards, and you can't buy it, apparently. What you have to do is go online and tell Target, we want this, pay for it, and then they will send it to your Target. And I'm thinking, it's there was like a Hello Kitty, and there was a Cinema Roll, and a whatever Frogger's name is.
Not a Gretzko, sadly.
Croco the Frog. No. Yeah, you can't do a Gretzko. But, well, you could, I suppose. But nonetheless. You mean they were literally saying, we will not physically have the cards until you have paid for them, and then they will be shipped to your local store. And I'm like,
why don't they just ship them right to the house? That's
actually kind of brilliant.
I don't know why they just don't have them shipped to the house then. If you're buying them online, just ship them to your house.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, we were looking for them online, and they were like $1,200.
Oh yeah, that seems to be what's been going on. And it's not just the old cards, because we've seen like the heritage auction sites and other online auction sites have gone through the roof with their sales of. These aren't even original set Pokemon stuff. This is stuff from like 5 years ago that are going through the roof. Some Pokemon, of these $1,000 for a card or whatever it is.
Yeah, Pokemon cards specifically are at this moment, like the Pokemon card world is hit with a double whammy, right? First off, and that double whammy comes from the pandemic, right? First off, there are shortages,
right? And
second, when you get out your graphing calculator and figure it out, all of the very youngest millennials and Gen Z were just getting into Pokemon cards like 20 years ago or something like that. Yep. Maybe 30 years ago. Who knows? But it's like it all times out to, here's this batch of people that have entered the workforce, have some disposable income, and all of a sudden aren't allowed to do anything. So everybody's like, you know what I used to like? Pokemon cards.
Yeah, and that's going on across all things. Toys are the same way. Action figures are the same way. I haven't looked to see what the current Lego situation is, but I know that our store shelves are pretty bare of Lego as of since Christmas. Christmas, the shelves were basically empty, but even now the Lego aisle is only half stocked with stuff. So I think it's everything across the line.
Yeah, back issues are doing it too. Somebody was asking about
Swamp Thing.
I think he was joking about Giant Size Man Thing #1.
Oh yeah, Man Thing. Yeah.
And I'm like, Giant Size Man Thing #1's a $30 book, and I went and I looked it up. Near mint, it's running $350.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's just a ridiculous jump over the 3 or 4 years.
Well, but I think it, and again, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but it seems like that's the soothing mechanism or the coping mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely.
That people are having when they're boxed up at home and can't go anywhere and do anything. That it's just like, well, I'm going to, and I don't want to say revert as in a bad way, but I'm going to go back to the things in my childhood that that I liked and enjoyed that I knew were calming. And so that's why we're just seeing people jumping into this baseball card market. I wish I still had that original run of the remember the DC superhero cards from the mid 90s, Matthew?
I hated those.
Oh man, I had a complete I spent like $60, which back in that time period was a lot of money. That was like half a paycheck for Matthew and I.
That was like $175
today. Yeah. But I got, they'd sell them in those boxes, the long box, not really the long box, but it was all.
It was a case.
Yeah, a case of them. But it was all the cards. It wasn't random. It was all of the cards. And I carried those around with me until I was getting ready to move to California in 99. And then I was just like, I really don't have a use for these anymore. Those things are going for like thousands of dollars right now. And I'm like,
man, I have a pretty complete set. I don't have a lot of the premier cards, but a pretty complete set of the 90s Fleer X-Men set.
Oh yeah.
I knew you were going to say it. Yep. You want some of the shiny Schmengi cards? I've got a bunch of those.
Well, we'll talk because
I've got like a Cable shiny, and I've got like a Spider-Man shiny, and ooh.
Yeah, that set was great. That set had embossed Age of Apocalypse variants.
Yes, those were hideous.
Yeah, they're just incredible. But like, when else? It's like, obviously those have to be worth something because everybody wanted those then, and nobody wanted those for the longest time. So people have to want them again, right?
Yeah.
In any case, I should look that up. See if I can.
Yeah, because I know, like Justin Robert Young, this was a couple of months ago. He was talking about that Marvel set, and he was just like, "Oh man, I wanted to get this one card," and he's like, "It's $500." So
yeah, the Marvel sets, they actually had multiple sets from like 87 through 95.
Well, he was specifically talking about that shiny Spider-Man you were just talking about, Matthew.
Oh yeah, the shiny Spider-Man I have. I no longer have the complete set of 89, 90, 91 because I actually sold those for relatively decent money because I had complete sets. But it's one of those things where as you get into it, you also find that those cards seem to be, touch points for the comic books too, to where people are writing stories that seem to be based on things that only happened in those card sets. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's coming back, Rodrigo.
Yeah. I have a complete set of The Mask, the movie trading cards.
You got Cuban Pete?
I got Cuban
Nobody
Pete,
got
and
Cuban
not
Pete.
only that, but that had a set of 18, maybe it was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe it was just the 9. I'm just this from memory of covers from the Mask comic as well. So it was like basically every beat in the movie plus beats that were taken out of the movie. Like there are deleted scene cards.
Ooh. I used to have some Mork and Mindy cards.
Yeah.
I had a collection of Herbie the Love Bug or Herbie Rides Again trading cards from like 1975 that had missing sequences from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost the cards, and
that's like I remember like the Star Wars cards when they came out. There was one that was a deleted scene from the original Star Wars movie when it was just called Star Wars. That had him and was it Biggs standing looking over a cliff, having a conversation, and it was like, who is this guy? And then you read the novelizations or those kinds of things, and you're like, that's who this guy is. But
what you don't know is that Biggs' middle name is Ass Mustache.
Yes, I'm sure. One of the other things that I've kind of been doing, kind of as a side effect to having all these games that take up a lot of space, is I've been deep diving into storage systems. Like this Marvel United has a lot of vacuum formed stuff that uses up a lot of space, and I think for many people who play any kind of a board game, those vacuum formed things just. I wish there was a better way to organize and also account for expansions. So I've got a laser cutter. I've had it for a couple of years. And so I've been laser cutting specific inserts and boxes and everything. Like I built a really quick little box to put all of the Marvel United bits in that we access every game, regardless of what module we're playing. And so that's kind of been a little side hobby, is just looking at creating specific boxes and organizers for all the little bits that come with these games, so I can get rid of, some of the boxes. Brian, we talked about this with Street Masters, which is again another one of my favorite games in the world, where it's just like, is there a way to cut this down? And I've cut them down by either making my own or buying these other organizer systems. But
now, did you get the Aftershock giant box thing?
I did, but again, I'm not. So some people sell these things and are just like, oh yeah, just throw all your minis in there. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that, because they're going to get broken, or if you paint them, they're going to get all dinged up when you just throw them all in there. So I kind of want to keep them nice and organized. But I guess one of the things that comes out of this is you do end up with boxes that you could throw away, but sometimes the art on these boxes is really, really cool. So
pretty,
So what is your guys' solution? Do you guys throw away any of these extra boxes?
Put other things in them.
Yeah, I guess there's that.
Chuck out the innards and keep the box for storage purposes.
Yeah. What do you do,
Brian?
I have
pretty much that. I have, quite a few empty boxes kicking around that I should probably throw away, but I have a hard time letting go, so I just keep it around, and maybe I'll use them for something.
One of the fanciest kind of replacement storage systems that I got was for, what's the one? Eldritch Horror. That's the one where you travel around the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have all the expansions for that. And this guy was selling these custom cases that it looks like an old 1920s suitcase. And you open up, and so you've got a handle for it. I mean, it just literally has, and you put all of the Eldritch Horror stuff all in there. It's stored nicely. It's well organized. You can pick it up, turn it upside down. The little chits and markers aren't going to, spill out everywhere. And it's a really cool little system. So much so that because it looks like this 1920s suitcase, I went online and found, original art where years ago people will do things like travel destination artwork for various fictional locations, and someone had done a whole line of Cthulhu mythos stuff, like Antarctica for the Mountains of Madness and some of the other city locations. I printed those out and cut them out, and then got some Mod Podge and glued them onto the case so it looks like it's actual travel case that had stickers from around the world of all these travels. So it's really cool. But I didn't know if you guys did anything else for your storages, and Matthew says he put things in other places. Brian's keeping his. What about you, Rodrigo or Rob? Do you guys do anything with your extra boxes?
I try to condense stuff as much as possible and just kind of tend to throw extra stuff away.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. Rodrigo, do you do anything?
It really depends. I like, for example, for my Magic cards, I bought a lot of fat packs, right? And fat packs are those things that are like, I don't know what the exact dimensions would be, but they're little boxes that have art. They have like wraparound card art or art specifically for the fat pack. So I store a lot of Magic cards in those when there's like fewer cards to be stored. Like if I like my non-basic lands are in fat packs. As far as the only game that I've gone all in on is Smash Up. So I got the big geeky box.
Yeah, me too.
Box that game comes with a big storage box, so I just got that.
Now, did you get the bigger geekier box?
I have not, because I also there's still a few sets at around the time when like COVID hit. I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna get a group together to play Smash Up. I really have to put this stuff away for a while and then wait until society resurfaces to start looking for people to play. We just inherited a bunch of games from a friend, and we were like, we don't have any shelf space for these. And then we realized that we had unused cabinets in the kitchen. So we stuck a bunch of games in the kitchen.
Rodrigo, where's the sugar, and why is there a Cthulhu Pandemic edition in here?
Yep.
The cinnamon is right behind the X-Men Smash Up game.
Well, there is. Speaking of, and I've got to go and look and see the status. I know they announced it a couple of months ago, but I haven't seen anything about it since. But there is a new Marvel Smash Up game that is coming out.
It's in stores.
Is it in stores now? Okay, cool. Because I need to go and get that one because it looked like a lot of fun. Have you picked it up, Rob? I know you were a Smash Up fan.
I haven't picked up any Smash Up since coming out here. Mostly, not a lot of the group out here was big on it.
Man.
And I have to figure out exactly what I have before I can actually do that, because mine and Brian's, because Brian and I were buying stuff simultaneously, so we didn't have crossover.
Yeah.
Right. And then you had to Sophie's Choice it.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Now,
I actually got some Smash Up stuff from a friend that I do have. So now I'm like, oh, if I ever play with Rob and Brian, they can both play Wizards and not fight over them.
Wizards.
Yep. No,
Yes.
that's not allowed. But you can both play Wizard Zombies, and I'll just sit there and watch you destroy yourself.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the Smash Up Marvel game is a standalone game. It's not just an expansion. It's standalone. So yeah, definitely going to get this. $35.
You play like Eternals, Inhumans.
Let's see. What do they have in
and
here?
friendly
What I believe.
Let's see. What are the decks in here? Let's see if I can find them really.
That would be fun if there was like a vampires one, and you could move Jubilee from the X-Men set to the vampire set.
So
yeah.
what do they
Yes.
have here? They have the Ultimates, Masters of Evil, the Kree, Hydra. Let's see who else.
These all sound terrible.
Maybe.
I wouldn't want to be any of those.
Yeah, Marvel's villain groups. I mean, unless it's like the Sinister Six, like
Yeah, they have Sinister Six and Shield and Avengers and Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Huh.
no.
Not X-Men.
all
they have-
of this stuff was probably licensed back when the X-Men were still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tied up in things.
If I can
Yeah.
play Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Mobile, I will play Spider-Verse. But
Probably
Other
not.
ones.
They're probably not going to go that deep dive. I would recommend if you want to go,
Sure.
and I don't even know if that's a card in what's the other Marvel game that I like to play? That's that card building game.
I was going to ask, did anyone... Oh, you're talking about... what's that one, Rob? You
pass
got
it
it
around. Rob's got it too. That I ended up getting you that Fantastic Four expansion that was like
Oh,
Legendary.
legendary.
legendary. Yeah. Legendary has several Spider-Man expansions. I don't know if that's a character in any of those, but Legendary
Not
is
yet.
also an incredibly fun game.
you know what? He's appeared in 4 different panels over the last 8 years. He's legit.
Yeah, sure.
He's a
Has
talking
anyone
card.
played the Marvel's Champions?
I have it. We haven't played it yet. Now that everybody understands Marvel United, I'm going to say, how about we play Marvel Champions? Because I've been buying those and getting the expansions for it.
Are they the actual champions?
It is. I forget who's in the base set. No, it's not that. The base set basically has Captain America, Ms. Marvel, Hulk, Black Widow. No, Black Widow was an expansion. Spider-Man was in that first one. I can't remember, but basically you
The
have
living card game.
the living card game.
Yeah.
Basically, you take a hero, and you get all these cards and powers that go with your hero, and then you choose an aspect: leadership or aggression, and I forget what the other two are.
Hamburgers.
Healing, I think, is another one, and I forget what they all are. But then you combine those two decks together, and then you go and you take on a villain, a mastermind for that game.
So it's kind of also a shuffle building game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's pretty fun. I've watched this guy. I think it's Doug Herring on YouTube. He plays that game a lot, so I pretty much know all the rules and everything that needs to go through. Plus, he talks about why he builds, because there's a portion of the deck that, like the leadership deck, that you can build yourself with X number of cards.
Right.
And then every expansion comes with the hero, and then it also comes with more cards to build upon that. And the game by itself comes with pre-built decks, but you are more than welcome to build your own deck out of that. So
See,
Interesting.
that's my problem with the Marvel Universe is I'm probably never going to be able to play Captain Ultra and the Texas Twister against Rampage, the Recessional Man.
probably not.
And there's a reason for that. I mean, I'm the only people who know who those idiots are, but more so, I feel like that would be a game where you would feel like the real Marvel Universe.
Well,
Where
give
you're
them
just like,
time
hey,
because I think
here's some idiot that shows up.
Yeah, it's Fantasy Flight that has Marvel Champions, and they do a lot. I mean, until the game dies, and there's a couple of their games recently that I think have fallen off the cliff. But give them time. Who knows? 4 of their more recent expansions, expansions. There's the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were 2 recent ones, and then they did something interesting with Ant-Man and the Wasp, where the cards unfold. So you can, if you're going to be like Ant-Man, it'll unfold into a giant card, so you can be Giant Man.
Nice.
Which I don't know, if you're someone who likes to sleeve your cards, it's kind of a pain in the butt, and so people have had to come up with some weird ways of protecting those cards.
You buy like 8 of them, and you fold each one so that a part is showing.
Yes.
Yep. And then you ruined 8 cards.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like that issue of Next Wave where you were supposed to buy 6 copies and put them all together so you could see the big 12-page spread all put out. That way they sold 6 times as many issues. Ha ha! Brames.
Yeah, nobody did that.
I did.
One person did that.
Nobody did that.
Okay. I got a 40% off. That was the thing.
Yeah.
That
doesn't count.
So you only
That's not what they wanted.
So you only paid you only bought 2
I
extra.
only paid 240% as opposed to 600%. And that means that with my 33% chance and your 25% chance, I've got a 137% chance of winning against Samoa Joe.
That's not how that works.
And you tell that to Scott Steiner.
Anyway, what's the other Fantasy Flight game that they did that was the Magic guy designed it? Did anybody play that game?
Keyforge.
Keyforge is fun, but the pandemic absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
And kind of fails on the way it plays feels like Magic as Richard Garfield intended.
Isn't that the point, though? Wasn't that the whole point?
Yeah, kind of. Because the entire thing is you buy 2 decks, shuffle them together, and that's your deck. You don't add anything from anything else. This is what you're playing with. You've got 2 deck lists because every deck comes with its own generated deck list. All the decks are completely random, so you don't know exactly what you're going to get. But it was really fun. I like the mechanics. I like how it plays. Even me, as a just dedicated limited player for Magic and any card game that comes around, I try to do some sort of limited format. The appeal grew, or the appeal faded too quickly.
Yeah. For me, like the reason why I am into Magic at all is deck construction. Right?
Yeah.
So I play limited stuff every once in a while, but Keyforge coming in and being like, there is no deck construction in this. I'm like, well, I'm already like very disinterested. As interested as I am in the mechanics and this idea of like, you don't win by fighting. Like fighting is just kind of like a means to an end, blah, blah, so on and so forth. Just the fact that I couldn't then just crack these things apart and like put them together. And I had my tinfoil hat on and was predicting like, there is going to rise a group that will start brewing decks, and then they're going to have to kowtow to them. But then, the game just kind of died.
Yeah. I guess they do have a recent, the game is still expanding. They're still releasing it.
That's good.
Because I know that the last time I went over to Fantasy Flight's website, they had released, what is it, Mass Mutation or whatever is their most recent expansion. But yeah,
they also made a RPG book for it.
Oh, really?
Using their Genesis system.
Yeah, there you go, Brian. Way to bring it back around.
Why's it got to be Final Fantasy? If not
Fantasy Flight?
Yeah. I hate Fantasy Flight RPGs.
You don't like the weird dice?
I don't want to have to get an entirely new set of dice every time I play an RPG.
Well, at least all the Genesis systems use the same dice, and it's actually the same dice that they used for their Star Wars one, just minus the Force dice.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a big fan of the funky dice either with the symbols.
Yeah.
Yeah, more ways to roll a 1.
No, it's different
Successes
things.
and
There's no
failures
numbers on
and,
them. That's like kind of part of my issue.
Wait, there's no numbers?
No, it's
No, it's
symbols.
all
like,
symbols.
1 kapow, 2 kapows, like
Yeah.
a little mouse with a hat. Like
Yeah.
that's what's on the face.
Yeah, there's like a
You're
success
making that
symbol, and a critical success symbol, and a failure
Look
symbol,
it
and a
up.
complications symbol, and a
You
boon
just make-
symbol, and I just feel like it's too much.
It depends on the
You
game
guys
you're
are
playing.
gaslighting me. There's no mouse hats.
There might be.
There aren't.
Yeah, it's like that's. how
I've
you
played a
find
game with a
magic
mouse and a
feather.
hat.
You can't. You can't freak.
I played
me out.
Mousetrap
I'm not.
once. I thought it was
I'm
dumb.
not picking up what you're putting down.
Don't buy Mousetrap. It's a dumb game.
Mousetrap is a wonderful game. You shut your lying mouth.
It is a dumb game. Sorry, everybody.
Mousetrap isn't exactly a game.
Yeah, it's more of
supposed to
just
be
a
game,
toy.
but, man, it's just a.
There was this game that was about bugs, and you made your pieces out of like Play-Doh. Like it came. with
Oh, we
holes,
had that.
And then you made the bugs out of it, and so you'd move around, and if your bug got killed, you would like hit it
Oh,
with
yeah,
a
let's smash it
seal
with
that said "splat,"
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
and they would just
Oh,
splat
it
on the
was
board.
Splat.
I think the game was
Presumably
called
that
Splat.
caused
Yeah.
something to happen.
Yeah.
You could like skip that.
There was also a game. This is an older game. I don't know if they still make it or not. But Cooties. Remember Cooties, Matthew?
Yeah, I had that
Cootie,
as
you would
a
play.
tiny
You
kid.
would build your cootie. I
Yeah.
love cooties.
Yeah.
I think Cooties still exist. I know a number of the games
Yeah.
around Cooties still exist.
Cooties still
Like,
exist because you
Hi-Ho
can buy
Cheerios
it.
Bucket's
and all
still
that.
around.
Yeah.
Yeti and My Spaghetti is the one I've seen recently, which I think might actually be a new one from that company, genre, whatever.
Yeah.
Hey Rob,
What?
ask me if the Abominable Snowman is called yet.
Not Yeti.
Yeti.
How dare
Womp,
you?
womp, womp, womp. Womp womp. I think we'll go out on that note, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for checking us out this week. I believe we'll be back with another game next week. But until then, go check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Major Spoilers. You can get access to character sheets and a whole bunch of other bonus bits and pieces. And it certainly helps keep this show on the air and keeps it going for maybe another 15 years. Let's find out and let's see if we can make it happen. Until next time, though, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2021 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.